Hello everybody, welcome to episode 6 of this video diary. Today we're going to be following trains from Brighton to London Victoria, and as well as that I'll be talking about a couple of the problems and challenges that arise from this particular area of the map, a couple of things that happen in real life that you can't really simulate properly in Simutrans, and how I get around that problem. So we've just left Brighton, where all the trains that in fact run from that station are now operational there, so you'll see a pretty full station. We're following a slow First Capital Connect service which will go all the way through London to Bedford, but we'll only be following this as far as Haywards Heath. And that's because Haywards Heath is one of the places where I want to dwell on what goes on there. Now in this part of the world there are a number of services that split and join, which is to say you might get a train that leaves London and then when it gets to a certain point splits into two parts which then go to two different destinations, and then those two parts will come back to the joining point and then join together into one train to go into London. But there's no way to directly simulate this in Simutrans, so we have to have a workaround. There's no way to split and join trains en route. And Haywards Heath, where we're just arriving, is one place where this occurs. Specifically, trains from Littlehampton and Eastbourne will split and join at this station. But since we can't do that, we have to run it as two separate services. The Littlehampton train runs as normal all the way from Littlehampton through to Victoria, but the Eastbourne part will come to Haywards Heath and then it will sort of pretend to join with the Littlehampton train and then go and wait in a siding at Haywards Heath until it's needed. Specifically, when the Littlehampton train comes in from Victoria, so you can see that train going into a siding now, that will come out of the siding and then pretend to split from the Littlehampton train and then go off to Eastbourne. So that's kind of how we get around this splitting and joining problem. It does mean that the people from Eastbourne don't have a direct service to Victoria as they would in real life, but they have a very short change at Haywards Heath. It doesn't really make too much difference. You'll also have noticed that there are more platforms at Haywards Heath than there are in real life, and that's just because there's not room to do all those manoeuvres with the extra trains unless you put in a couple of extra platforms. So now we're coming up on Gatwick Airport, which is the second thing I wanted to talk about today. Airports generate a lot of rail traffic, but it's difficult to simulate that in Simutrans without using aeroplanes, for obvious reasons, right? The only reason that airport stations generate such high rail traffic is because people use them to take the plane. But I don't want to use aeroplanes on this map, because if I did, then passengers would only take aeroplanes everywhere because they're the fastest mode of transport. So to solve this problem, I've built a tower in around Gatwick Airport called Gatwick Airport, which is made up entirely of high-density car park buildings. So it just looks like the airport's surrounded by car parks, which it should be. Now, it turns out, as I recall, that Gatwick Airport station generates about as much traffic as Cambridge Station. So I've made the pretend Gatwick Airport town about as big as Cambridge, and that means that we still got our traffic to Gatwick Airport station, but I don't have to put in all the air routes as well as the train network. So that's how I tried to solve that problem. It has its drawbacks, but it seems to work pretty well. Now the junction we've just passed north of East and West Croydon was one of the most difficult on the map to construct, to get everything so it's pointing the right way. It was quite the challenge to get done. We're in London now. You'll also notice when we pass Croydon that the Croydon tram link is not yet operational. I'm not yet really sure how to do that justice. I'm still thinking about that. But apart from that, pretty much everything in South London is now complete and operational. Just today I've built the line to Southampton, so added the last services from Victoria to Southampton and then the services from Waterloo to Weymouth. I hope to have a video of the Waterloo to Weymouth line soon. The next project I think is going to be to head out further west towards Exeter, so both the line from Waterloo to Exeter and the line from Paddington to Exeter and beyond, and that's going to involve putting in lots of the local lines to Reading and so on and so forth. So that's more or less it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions about the map then do leave a comment or write on the Simutrans forums, and I'll see you again soon.